what does a father look like in this year of 2024? Well, I would hope that a father looks like a parent. So in other words, father is actively involved in as much of their child's life as they can possibly be. There's really, unless the mother is breastfeeding, there's nothing that a father can't do that a mother can do.
Oh, look, I think fathers in 2024 have got more opportunities than they had before in terms of being able to work, but also just getting there and having an awesome time with their kids. When my first son was born, the relationship between my wife and I shifted hugely. We went from having these really separate lives to some degree. We both did bits of everything, we shared everything, but then suddenly we were just this single unit and we spent all this time together, working together to support our child. And I think it both made things a bit harder because there was a lot of responsibility and a lot of stress and fear. But at the same time, it made us a lot stronger. And kind of our love grew and our connection grew in ways that I actually didn't think would happen when a baby came along.
So yes, a huge learning curve. And I still have a very vivid memory of the first time that I was left on my own for a morning with the child, with the baby, thinking, okay, I've just got to get through this. This is just me. I've got to do this. But at the same time, as you problem solve it all and as you learn to understand what your baby needs and what the different cries need, such a sense of, oh, I can do this and this is beautiful and this is my child.
I was not ready to become a dad at all until the second he popped out, and then suddenly just being thrust, having this baby thrown at you and my wife saying, we both need to learn.
I was very keen to have children. My father had been a very absent father and there'd been other issues that had made that a difficult relationship, particularly when I was a teenager. I was really keen to have children and be a different sort of father. So I was very ready for it. There's such a deep undercurrent still in society that the mothers are the baby people and the dads are the sort of the helpy people. So really, and I could see myself at times falling into that trap, saying, oh, what can I do to help? Rather than thinking, actually, what's my responsibility here? So having to notice that in myself and work really hard to overcome that. And I think that was the same for my partner as well, that she felt that sense of, well, I'm the mother, so I should know things. So again, us working together to make sure that we weren't falling into that sort of trap and we're working as this team.
Communication is not easy when a baby first turns up because you are tired, because you're scared, and because you don't know most of the answers.
I think the other important thing about communication is involving other people. So sometimes you actually need other people with children to sit down with them and share what's been going on and how did you solve this and is this your experience? And other people helping you, like that third or fourth person who can just mediate almost the conversation that you and your partner need to have.
I don't think working out who does what was actually part of my wife and I's discussion to start with. We just did what we thought needed to be done. And I have to admit, I wasn't doing as much. So I think what I thought needed to be done was not hugely different to what I'd been doing before we had a baby. And so my wife kind of found herself with probably more than she should have. It took some very frank discussions to make sure that I was thinking about all the stuff that needed to be done. But I know that one of the best things for us was finding some moments to actually kind of breathe and go, all right, this isn't working. What are we going to do about it? And so we were able to find a way to change it. And so I was able to become a stay-at-home dad.
In terms of keeping, that's stimulation in the partnership, we did that by both working part-time, both staying home part-time. One of the things you notice when you become a father, and particularly if you become sort of a primary caregiver, is all the assumptions that are sort of sit underneath society. So the number of times that people say to you, oh, are you babysitting today? I say, no, I'm their father. I'm their father. I'm not babysitting. You start to discover some of those deep sort of assumptions that sit across our society that you're being very countercultural to when you become a stay-at-home dad.
So this is a bit embarrassing. I spent 6 months when I first became a stay-at-home dad telling people I was unemployed.
Oh.
Because I got better reactions to saying I was unemployed than to saying I was a stay-at-home dad. People got super weird.
Yeah.
When I said I was choosing to stay home, I'm not a huge fan of being told how to parent, and I'm not sure that many fellas are. So what I love about Baby Makes 3 so much is that it's none of that. Is that it's not being told what to do. You're not being told how to do anything. You're definitely not being told that you're doing it wrong. You're just being given the opportunity to have a chat about it and sort of say, well, you know, what am I doing? What are we doing? Are these things working for us? I can actually make my family with my wife the family we want it to be, not just the family it happens to be because that's where we've ended up.
We found that we had things that we sort of were naturally more attuned to. For whatever reason, I've always been the laundry and the ironing person in our household. So I became the nappy master because we use cloth nappies for most of our 3 children. I was always more the finance person, which was partly because my partner had a job where she had to be the finance person at work. So she was happy for me to be the finance person at home. She was more the kitchen person, although having said that, I was more the dessert person and she was more the main course person. So we found ourselves slotting into things that we had naturally sort of felt more comfortable doing. You know, we did swap and adjust, but we also recognised that there were things that we just each enjoyed doing more, and it didn't help to not do the things that we enjoyed, but it did help just to check in regularly that we weren't feeling shortchanged or we weren't feeling resentful about what each was doing.
It was that job switch where it's kind of like, well, someone needs to do this, and so I end up doing it, and then found out I love cooking. So I discovered all these new things that I'd never thought I'd be into, just because they had to be done, and shifting out of my safe space. If dads only get to see themselves as the support for mum and child, like just the extra bit, I worry that we miss out on so much. I think of all the things that I do with my kids every day, and it's not the big stuff. It's the really teeny stuff. It's the getting dressed, the sorting the breakfast. It's the panic to do all the things we've forgotten to do before we have to be out of the house. It's all the little tiny bits that aren't support, that are just getting stuff done for our kids. That is super awesome. No, one of the coolest things about becoming a dad is dad friends. I met dads in the spaces we're in. So like one of my best mates now was in my 6-month-old swimming lesson, and we were the only 2 dads there. And we've been mates for 10 years now, and we do dad talk and all that kind of stuff.
I would say that the secret of a good relationship generally, even outside of children, is that each person remains themselves as well as being part of a partnership. And so throughout a whole relationship, it's so important that you give each other the space to be separate as well as together.
Taking time for each other as a parent, I think, is probably one of the most important things that you could learn when you first have a baby, but something no one tells you, because all the focus is on bub 24/7, and you feel guilty if you want to take some you time.
The most important thing that your child needs is that you as a couple have a healthy relationship.